So this is crazy.
So this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, ever since I saw, I think his YouTube channel name is called Coltography. I saw his YouTube video, which is obviously inspired by The Dark Knight. And we've lived here for about a year. And the reason I finally pulled the trigger is because of that light fixture right there.
This light fixture was already in here when we bought the house. After about a year and a half, it finally just died. You can see I already took one of the lights out.
You can see that it took one of the lights out. I was thinking about replacing it. Really, I had some extra ones here that the previous owner left. I was gonna replace it, but I decided, no, I've had this idea for so long. If I just put a new bulb in, I'm not gonna do this. And I really wanna do this. So I'm gonna commit, bought the parts, it's happening. You might be asking, why don't I go with the hex light that a lot of other people do? I think it's really cool. It looks amazing. I've had this idea way longer. I saw this video first, and a lot of other people are doing the hex light, and I think this is a little more unique. Plus, we can add something to this that you can't to the hex light.
Step one is going to be to clean the garage so we can actually work on the ceiling. Okay, well, the center is all clean. The bench is clean. This isn't clean. Obviously gonna have to get up on there so I can reach the ceiling. So now I gotta figure out what to do with all of these half-built lights. That's better. Garrett built that.
Did it look like those boxes just disappeared? They didn't, they're right there.
Okay, I need to take care of these boxes because I can't leave them sitting out like this. All clean. Here's all the stuff I'm using. I bought everything from Home Depot. It's the wall angles, the main tee, and then the cross tees. It was really expensive to do it this way. After buying everything, I found a kit on Amazon that I think would have been a lot cheaper, but my garage is kind of shaped a little bit weird. It was probably better for me to go this route. Because my garage is longer than most garages, the kit on Amazon probably wouldn't have fit. You're probably wondering about what LEDs I'm gonna use. Well, I've got lots and lots of LEDs. These I did buy on Amazon. They're probably not the greatest LEDs, so we'll see how long they last. If you want them, they're down in the description below. As of right now, I have not figured out how I'm going to control the LEDs yet. I know I want a switch along the wall back there. I just haven't figured out exactly how I'm gonna do that. It will not be as good as Coltography's setup. His is insane. That is enough stalling. I'm gonna get started. Just finished up the wall angles. That took like 2 hours to do. Main tees are on. So you can see I had to do something a little weird here to get it around the garage door motor. I think I'm gonna have to do the same thing around this, but I'm not sure yet. I obviously need access to my attic, so I need to go around it, but I'm not sure if I need to do that with the main tees just yet. I was gonna wait until I actually start putting up the cross tees and the acrylic panels. I am getting pretty excited though. It's really starting to kind of come together, although it is very, very tedious. All right, this is starting to look good. The grid is done. We have the grid done everywhere. As you can see, we got all the cross tees and the main tees in. Of course, had to leave room for the attic, had to cut all of this and get that all into shape. And then of course, the hardest part was definitely the motor here. Hopefully all of this stays put pretty well. We're gonna find out. Next up is LEDs and diffusers. Stepping back here, you can really see that there's about 4 sections in this grid. And what we're gonna do is wire up several LEDs going long ways like this and wire each section to its own switch. That way we can turn it on in different sections and not have the entire ceiling turn on at once. The LED strips do have this adhesive on it, but that's popcorn ceilings up there, so it's really not gonna stick super well. To hang it, we got some of these staples. Actually, we got quite a bit. We got 2 whole boxes of this just in case we needed it. and it's definitely holding in pretty well so far. All right, with all of the LEDs on the ceiling, we're gonna go ahead and route it to here. This is where I'm gonna have the switchboard, and I know this looks rough. Don't worry, it's gonna get cleaned up. I just like to bring it all into one spot, and then I can clean up the wiring once it's all here. Here are the switches that we're gonna use. I'm actually gonna need to exchange this one because it is not the right style. It was on the shelf, so I just grabbed it, not thinking about it. I'm gonna cut out a sheet of plastic, wrap it in some carbon fiber, and then put these pieces into it. The other issue that I'm having is that the power supply that I'm currently using is not strong enough. So I have another one coming in today that should be way stronger. I think it's just not pumping out enough amps. All right, I'm cutting the switch plate now. While I have the Dremel out, I'm gonna go ahead and cut, which I already did it. I went ahead and cut open some Civic lights. You know, I gotta get some actual work done while I'm building out the ceiling. This is gonna be so sick. Look at that, I just had a piece of plastic and wrapped it with some carbon fiber, cut out the slots. So now I need to go buy the right switches. Ended up having to get these switches off of Amazon, no big deal, because everything works. I did go ahead and leave my big light over there hooked up. Same with this light over here. Mostly because I want to have as much light in here as possible. And this is just too fun. Now there is a small issue that I'm having with the LEDs already. So if you notice that these are pretty bright, but as soon as I turn on all the rest of them, it kind of dims out just a bit. I don't know if it's because the LEDs I got are sucking too much power or if the power source I'm using isn't supplying enough power. The power source I'm using is a 120 volt to 12 volt converter that's pushing 50 amps. These strips do take, the box says like 5 amps each, so that's most likely the problem. I probably need to get better LEDs, but this is what I have for right now, so that's what we're gonna go with. The real ideal is to have 4 sections of white LEDs and then have color shifting going across the grid. But for right now, I just need to install all of these tiles. This has been the most unexpected cost of the entire thing. These cheesy little acrylic panels that you can get from Home Depot are surprisingly expensive. They were about $15 a piece, and I need 30 something of them, which I still haven't bought all of them because they don't carry that many. And almost every single one of them is cracked. And I don't really have another place to go. I guess I could find them online, but I already have these, so we're just gonna go with it. The panels are going on. So I have all the panels on that I don't have to cut. Like this row here is all on, all the way under the garage. Unfortunately, we are at the point where I have to trim the panels to get them to fit into place. So I'm working on that now. It's done. It looks insane. This shot here is the whole reason why I wanted to do this, is because I wanted this entire panel to be behind my head whenever I do YouTube videos or TikToks. I have not done the color shifting strips yet. I need to get back to some of these builds and then I can get back on the ceiling. Now, I'm gonna be the first one to admit that this probably wasn't executed the best way. First of all, this grid, the drop ceiling, was a lot more difficult to install than I ever thought. Second, what made it more difficult is that I wanted to save the attic door, room for this cabinet, and cut out the motor for the garage door, obviously so I can still have my garage door work. Because of that, it made putting this grid up very weird. It's shifted all in weird spots, which makes the tiles fit not great. So this is a normal 4-foot tile. Then it gets cut right here and goes this way. So all of these have to get cut, but that makes it a little bit shifted over. This side looks pretty good, but let me cut to this side. So you can see here, it wasn't cut 100% perfect, so it's dipping up there. And right here, it's wider than the 2 feet, so this tile is struggling to stay in place. I've messed with it a lot, and I'm definitely gonna fix it because it's driving me insane. But it's been pretty annoying getting it to stay in place. Not to mention just how brittle these things are. I never knew how brittle they were or expensive, which is annoying. They are super brittle. Several of them were cracked out of the box and it was already late and I wanted to get this project done, so I just went with it. Then there's stuff like this where I accidentally dropped the tile and it just
cracked like that.
By drop, I mean like I dropped it onto the table a little too hard and it cracked. I know what you're saying, Zach, just get new tiles. They're $15 a piece. And I already spent a ton of money on getting all of these tiles, so I really don't want to go out and buy new ones. But even after all of that, I still think this is really, really cool. Just look at it from outside. That's insane.